Now this next project is actually one that was inspired by anthropology. I bought a wall hook a while back and so many people were like, can you please like recreate this on your channel? And so I did. I basically found this wooden wall hook blank from Michael's or Joann's, some craft store, and I ended up spraying it with my brass spray paint so it had the similar brass look to the anthropology piece. And then I went ahead and Googled the constellation for Leo. That is what I personally am, but you can totally change this up for your own star sign. I just did Leo for myself, and then I went in with a little bit of black acrylic paint and just dotted this on wherever the stars were in that constellation. And then I connected them with some lines and just kind of cursively wrote Leo at the bottom. I guess it's kind of lucky that I'm a Leo because I didn't have to write that much. And then around the edge, I went ahead and I just did a little dotted kind of pattern just to add a little bit more detail, and that finishes off your wall hook. This brass mirror here is one of my favorite DIYs I've ever created. I've actually done a couple different versions of it on my channel throughout the years, and it's just such a fun project to create. So all you're gonna need for this is actually some artificial flowers and a mirror of choice. So these artificial flowers are just from a craft shop. You can get them at the Dollar Tree or Joann's, Michael's, wherever you wanna get them from. And I just went ahead and started by giving them a good dousing of brass spray paint. And this is actually going to just be our first layer of spray paint, kind of just to give an overall coat of that brass color. And next what you're gonna want to do is actually kind of find the placement on your mirror for these pieces and use some heavy duty hot glue to glue and adhere them down to your mirror. So once you have them all glued and adhered down, this is where we're going to go in with our brass spray paint once again, making sure to cover up any of the mirror sections and really thoroughly coat those pieces in that brass spray paint to give it a full-on finished look. And of course we're gonna need something to hang this up with, so I didn't want to use this white yarn here, so I just actually sprayed it with the gold spray paint and it ended up looking great in the end. I adhered it on the back side of our mirror and that finishes it off. I'm sure we've all seen these mesh trash bins at the dollar store, at Walmart, at Target, wherever it might be, but they're always not the cutest. So I want to share with you guys how you can add just a little bit of faux leather to this piece to make it more rustic and overall just cuter in the end. So the first thing that I did was I went ahead and I marked 3-inch wide sections and then drew a line to create a 3-inch wide strip that I could then cut with my scissors, because we are going to then go ahead and fold over those raw edges into the middle. So we're going to be ending up with a 1.5-inch wide strip of this leather material. So you're going to want to do this, that way you have nice clean edges on the front there, and then on the front side of your wastebasket, using a generous amount of hot glue, you're going to be applying your faux leather material and then creating kind of a little loopy handle at the top, which again is just for visual interest. There's no like rhyme or reason to this piece. And then I cut off the excess at the bottom there and went in with a little bit of white embroidery floss. I probably should have done this with like some jute cording or something just to match the vibe a little bit better, but I think it turned out cute nonetheless. So I went in and I just added a little X shape to secure the leather in place a little bit more, but also add a bit of detail to that edge there. I think this adds a nice touch. Tie it off on the back side, repeat on the opposite side, and that finishes off this basket. This chunky tassel blanket is one of my favorite throw blankets I've ever created. I actually still own it to this date and style it all the time throughout my apartment. So I started off with this blanket base, which was actually from Target, and then I went ahead and I grabbed a couple of yarns that I thought that kind of complemented the blanket, and I cut them into 12-inch long sections. And you're gonna want a ton of these to create a ton of different tassels along your piece. So I'm using a really chunky wide crochet hook to go through the knitted section of this blanket, and I'm going to then go ahead, fold my yarn in half, and pull it through the loop that we created with our crochet hook. So you're gonna pull through all those strands of yarn. Once all 3 of them are pulled through, you're going to then go ahead and pull the tails through that loop, and that finishes off your first tassel. Now to determine kind of the pattern you wanna go with or where you want to apply your tassels, you can map it out first if you'd like to, but I just went ahead and did chunks all around the blanket, making sure that I had kind of like an even spaced amount of chunks of different colors of yarn that just add pattern, texture, and dimension to the piece. You can also just go around the edge and do like a tasseled edge if you want to, but I just wanted to mix up the yarn, so I did a variant of white yarn. I also added in some that had these gray kind of flecks throughout it, and then in the end I just created these little tassel sections on the blanket which just kind of give a little bit of detail.